So it's the autumn time, and actually we're in October now, and people are training pretty hard. Many of the athletes we work with have got cross-country seasons ahead of them. Perhaps they're looking further afield towards a marathon next spring. There's a lot going on, which is really exciting. But you know what? It's that time of year when people get colds. You might have kids that are at school and they come back with infections. You might work in an environment where people around you are getting ill. And it's really, really frustrating because you're training well. The training's been great. You've been feeling good and suddenly you pick up a cold. What do? Do you keep training? Do you pretend it's not that bad and you're a real Marine and you can battle through this? Do you respect it and try and allow the body to recover more quickly perhaps, and for the immune system to be strong and to beat the virus off, the infection off? There's many theories. As a coach, what I've learned over many years is that those people who initially take a few days off and definitely cut the training to being really easy, but I'd advise you to take a few days off straight away, you seem to recover more quickly. And even if it's a really nasty virus, I'm no doctor, but it definitely seems to be that you come back more quickly and a little bit stronger. The grey area, and this is where working with our partners Polar, and particularly with a heart rate monitor like the 430 or the M200 comes into use. You need to look at how you're going to monitor data perhaps that's going to tell you that you're ready to start training again. Is 3 days enough time off? Are you really feeling better, or are you just worried that all your fitness is disappearing and really you're feeling guilty and the training plan's looking at you and it's actually the gremlin that's telling you to go out the door, but common sense probably is telling you deep inside, I ought to have a couple more days, but I can't do that because all the training I've done for 20 years is going to go in those next 2 days. It's going to go. I'm out of the game here. So how do you prove it to yourself? How do you know you're ready? Well, I often say to people, first 3 or 4 runs back after quite a good cold, a virus, I would actually only run for about 30 minutes at a time. I'd run super slow and I'd run in a training zone which I know is very much my recovery running type zone. It's perhaps 60, 65, definitely going to be less than 70% maximum heart rate. I'll make sure I'm wearing good clothes, I feel comfortable, it's not a challenging route. I just go out and I would suggest you run really easy for 30 minutes. See what your heart rate's doing. If your heart rate's a little bit higher than it would be normally when you do your recovery runs, do you know what? You're still probably what we call, I guess, post-viral, or you're still fighting the infection. So you need to give yourself more time. Maybe it would be clever to actually take your resting heart rate every morning. Now you could do it the old way, just measure your pulse at the wrist and count for 60 seconds and see how many times, of course, your heart beats. But you could wear the device again and actually start to be more scientific. You could take your morning resting pulse, which would be really interesting because you'll see whether you've recovered again, and you'll get used to tracking when you're healthy and used to tracking when you're tired and when perhaps the illness is there. But you could also start to monitor your sleep data. You could track back and wear this overnight and see whether you've really slept as well as you should have done. Because if you're sleeping really well, the chances are you're recovering well. If the sleep's pretty disturbed and the heart rate is not dropping to where it should do during the sleep, you're probably not that well yet. You're not ready to push hard. And the danger is you'll go out and do a hard session and then suddenly 2 days later or the following day, you feel ill again. Then you feel chesty, and then suddenly because you feel chesty, you have to take another week off. Take your time, use science to really, really help you. Listen to what your body's telling you, and perhaps a few days off at the beginning when you get a cold, and then a few or 3 or 4 easy days of running. And when you get to 30 minutes and it feels easy and the heart rate's in the recovery zone and you feel good and you feel like you could do more, do you know what? You're ready to jump back in on your plan and you're ready to go and train hard. And I bet you haven't lost much fitness, if any. I bet actually you come back and run really well because you're healthy and you're fresh. So good luck, be patient, and use a bit of science to sometimes help you decide whether you're healthy or not.